Hey, Jeff Davis here. Have you ever felt down before? Have you ever felt depressed? I mean, really depressed. And I'll take it one step further. Have you ever felt so depressed that you weren't sure if you wanted to go on living? It's absolutely a challenging feeling, and I understand that feeling of overwhelm and stress. I've certainly had my fair share of setbacks, and I'm not going to go into those today, but if you ever want to check it out, feel free to search for the YouTube video, You Have a Purpose, dealing with disappointment and setbacks, and that's where I go into a little bit more of my own story. But here today, I'm going to give you 5 hard-hitting, practical tips to get you feeling better about yourself so you're no longer feeling so down all the time. Again, don't beat yourself up. It's a normal feeling. And I do want to emphasize that I am not a doctor. By no means have I gone to medical school, and by no means am I saying that my way will work for every person out there. What I will say is that I have researched this topic for many years. I have read books about it. I have had dozens, and I mean dozens upon dozens of conversations with very smart people about this, and these tips have worked for me. So I'm simply sharing what helped me get out of that feeling of being down. And if they work for you, great, but if they don't, absolutely discard them. Only apply them in your life if they work for you. That's the key here. I'm only sharing you what has worked for me and what has worked for other people, but only do it if it works for you. If at any point in time you feel like you are ready to actually take away your own life, please contact a family member or your doctor immediately, and they can help you. I'm giving you tips if you don't have the ability to contact them in this moment. Step 1, take life one moment at a time. Just one breath, one moment at a time. And you may be thinking, just one moment? But that's like this. Yes, just one breath. One moment. Do it here with me now. You might be stressed about what might happen in the future, and you might be anxietized and feeling a little bit down about what happened in the past, but just right now, one breath, one moment. You notice that even if it was only for a split second, you might have felt incrementally better. Even if it was the faintest, smallest, tiniest feeling, take life one breath at a time. Very powerful. Easy to miss for a lot of people because we do live in a very fast-paced society. And it sounds so obvious, even to me, but when I started applying this in my life, and I'm a fast-paced person and I'm energetic, but by the end of the day I'm dead, and I didn't even know if I had the energy to film this video. I'm just being transparent with you right now, and I just took it a breath at a time, and I said, just share your message. And it's the same for you. One breath at a time, get through this moment. Do what you have to do. You'll be fine, I promise. 2, I'm going to ask you to remember something. It's actually not even an action you have to take. I want you to remember that you are loved. Now, if you're anything like me, if you're feeling a little bit down, you might be questioning some of the people out there in the world, because there are mean people out there. There are a lot of good people, but there are mean people too. And I know that feeling of being isolated, I do. But I'm here to tell you that there are more people who love you than you may initially realize. Please know that. Please know that if you are considering taking your own life, it's not only going to affect you in a very physical way, of course, but your family members and people you know from different circles. Even if you feel isolated, I know that feeling. Feelings are universal. We've all had it. Don't let it trick you into getting so depressed that you do something that you can't take back. Don't do it. You have a lot to look forward to. You have a lot going for you. You are loved. The 3rd tip I want to share with you is something called self-disclosure. Brian Tracy says that when you share something with someone, it's like letting the light in, because it's now no longer in the dark. It's now no longer sitting in the innermost depths and recesses of your psyche that no one knows about. I have a very important disclaimer here right now. Do not just vent to people out there who don't know you. Do not dump your problems on people who don't care to hear them. But never be afraid to disclose what you're going through to perhaps a close friend, a family member, maybe a coworker who you get along with really well, perhaps a professional acquaintance who is now becoming more of a good friend. When you disclose your situation to someone, even if it's just one person, remember, I didn't say tell the world about it. I didn't say to tell just anyone off the street. Just that one person may give you insight into helping you feel better. Thich Nhat Hanh says that it works both ways. Not only when you disclose yourself to someone do you feel better, but the mere act of someone listening to you helps to alleviate your suffering. Powerful stuff from Thich Nhat Hanh. Great guy. I suggest you checking him out if you get the chance. The fourth step I want to give you is to remember that, and it is in a very practical way, you've done a lot. You've achieved a lot. And I want you to take an action step when this video is done. It's not going to take you a lot of time. Just write down 5 to 10 things that you've achieved, that you've done. It doesn't have to be an accomplishment other people have acknowledged you for. I'll help you out if you can't think of anything. By the way, there are traits, qualities, and achievements you have, but if you can't think of anything in the moment, I'll help you out. You have integrity. You have more integrity than most people. You are a good person at heart. There's a lot of people in this world who aren't good people at heart. And even if you've made mistakes, you're still a good person. You're not defined by your mistakes. Also, on top of that, you have a mind that has so much potential. And actually, they say that the people who feel down are actually sometimes the ones with the greatest potential because they're the ones who want to do the most good. So you definitely have a lot going for you. Make a list, 5 to 10 things, just 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes of 5 to 10 things you are proud of, and you might feel a little bit better when that's done. And then finally, tip 5, what I call the X factor. Connect with that inner spark within, with that feeling that you're going to get through what you're going through right now. And again, I'm not a doctor, but I do know what it's like to feel down, and I do know what it's like to help people get out of what they're going through by giving them practical advice. Perhaps for you it might be journaling. It might be meditating. The X factor is doing what works for you. Again, journaling I mentioned, meditating I mentioned. Another great thing for what works for me, only apply this if it works for you, jogging. If I'm feeling stressed, even a little bit down, it might have been a tough day, I might have had a disagreement with somebody, I go for a jog, put in my headphones, and I feel like $1,000,000. Maybe it's calling an old friend. Maybe it's going for a walk in nature. Maybe it's not stressing yourself out and putting so much pressure on yourself all the time. All of these things are part of the X factor because you know your situation better than anyone else. And even though you may be feeling like all is lost, I'm here to tell you that it's not. You definitely have a lot going for you. Remember these 5 practical, hard-hitting tips. Let me recap them for you just very quickly so you can remember them. Remember I said tip 1 is 1 moment at a time, or if you even want to call it 1 day at a time, fine, but just 1 moment at a time. 2, you're loved. Even if you're forgetting the people who you think love you, or even if you're mad at the people who love you, just because you're mad at them or they're mad at you doesn't mean that they don't love you. They still care about you. And remember what I said with step 3, as you're moving forward, feel free to self-disclose or use self-disclosure to tell someone what you're going through. Don't be afraid to do that. 4, make a list of your 5 to 10 best qualities, characteristics, and accomplishments and use that to help you feel better about yourself. And finally, 5, the X factor. Do what works for you. Go for a jog, walk, call an old friend, meditate, journal, do something, anything that gets you out of what you're going through because you have so much purpose and potential and power inside you that I would hate, and I never use the word hate, but I'm going to make an exception right now because I would hate to see it go to waste. If you liked what I had to say, please hit like on this video. I'd love to know your thoughts. There is a comment section below. You can share this video with anyone who you think it may help. And stay tuned for more videos from Jeff Davis International on my channel. I'm always putting out practical content that will get you from where you are to where you want to be. Have a great day.